Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to go over my review of King of the Ring 1999. Starting off the evening, we'll go to our first match of the night. It is a King of the Ring tournament quarterfinal matchup. It is X-Pac versus Hardcore Holly. I thought this was an okay opening matchup for King of the Ring 1999. Back and forth matchup between X-Pac and Holly. Holly ends up hitting a devastating powerbomb on X-Pac. It looked absolutely brutal. X-Pac then gets up, hits a spinning heel kick on Hardcore Holly. X-Pac then hits a Bronco Buster on Holly into the corner. Holly then hits X-Pac with a chair shot. Referee ends up seeing this, and your winner of the match by disqualification is X-Pac. Hats off to X-Pac for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is another King of the Ring tournament quarterfinal matchup. It is Kane versus The Big Show. I thought this was a relatively good matchup. Back and forth matchup between Kane and Big Show, with Big Show keeping the pace of the match. Big Show then hits an elbow drop on Kane in the middle of the ring. Kane gets up, hits an enziguri on the Big Show. Kane then hits a clothesline off the top rope on Big Show for a near fall. Big Show then accidentally hits the referee. The referee is taken out. Kane then hits a low blow on Big Show. Hardcore Holly makes his way down to the ring. Holly goes to hit Big Show with a chair shot, but Kane ends up hitting a choke slam on Holly. And then Kane hits Big Show with a chair shot. Referee doesn't see it. Pins him for the 3. And your winner of the match is Kane. Hats off to Kane for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Ken Shamrock versus Billy Gunn in a King of the Ring tournament quarterfinal matchup. I thought this match was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between Shamrock and Gunn, with Gunn keeping the pace of the match. Billy Gunn ultimately hits a powerbomb on Ken Shamrock, but the referee ends up calling the match due to Ken Shamrock's injured ribs. Hats off to Billy Gunn for getting the win in that matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Road Dogg versus Chyna in a King of the Ring tournament quarterfinal matchup as well. This match was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between Road Dogg and Chyna, with Road Dogg keeping the pace of the match. Triple H ends up attacking Road Dogg ringside. Chyna then hits an elbow drop on Road Dogg. Triple H then hits Road Dogg with the chain. The referee doesn't see it. Shawn Michaels makes his way down to the ring. Triple H tries to attempt to get into the ring, but Shawn stops him, sends him to the back. Road Dogg then ultimately hits his signature pump handle slam on Chyna, pins her for the 3, and your winner of the match is Road Dogg. Hats off to the Road Dogg for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night as well. It is the Brood versus the Hardy Boys. I thought this was a good match. Back and forth matchup between the Brood and the Hardy Boys. Edge ends up hitting a devastating Alabama slam that looked absolutely brutal. Matt then hits a Northern Light suplex. Edge then hits a DDT on Matt Hardy. Edge then hits a spear on Michael P.S. Hayes. Gangrel then attacks Michael P.S. Hayes ringside. Gangrel then goes to spray blood on Jeff, but he ends up missing, and he ends up spraying Edge in the face with the blood. Jeff then capitalizes on this, hits a twist of fate on Edge, pins him for the 3, and your winners of the match are the Hardy Boys. Hats off to the Hardy Boys for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Kane versus Billy Gunn in a King of the Ring tournament semi-final matchup. I thought this was an okay match. Back and forth matchup between Kane and Billy Gunn, with Kane keeping the pace of the match. Kane and Billy Gunn fight on the outside. Kane hits a devastating power slam on Billy Gunn. Big Show ends up making his way down to the ring. Big Show hits Kane with a chair shot. Billy Gunn goes for the cover, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match and moving on in the King of the Ring tournament is Billy Gunn. Hats off to Billy Gunn for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Road Dogg versus X-Pac in a King of the Ring tournament semifinal matchup. I thought this was an okay match. Back and forth matchup between Road Dogg and X-Pac, with Road Dogg keeping the pace of the match. X-Pac hits a spinning wheel kick on the Road Dogg. Road Dogg then goes for a pump handle slam, but X-Pac counters it with an X Factor, pins him for the 3, and your winner of the match and moving on to the King of the Ring tournament is X-Pac. Hats off to X-Pac for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is The Rock versus The Undertaker for the WWE Championship. I thought this was a good match. Back and forth matchup between The Rock and Taker, with Taker keeping the pace of the match. Undertaker quickly attacks the referee. Rock hits a rock bottom on Undertaker for a near fall. Paul Bearer then pulls out the referee. Undertaker then hits a choke slam on The Rock for a near fall. Triple H is here. Triple H ends up hitting a pedigree on The Rock, and The Undertaker ultimately hits a signature tombstone piledriver on The Rock, pins him for the 3, and your winner of the match, and at that time, still WWE Champion, is The Undertaker. Hats off to The Undertaker for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is X-Pac versus Billy Gunn in a King of the Ring tournament final matchup. I thought this match was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between X-Pac and Billy Gunn, with Billy Gunn keeping the pace of the match. Gunn hits a power slam on X-Pac that looked absolutely brutal. X-Pac gets up, hits a Bronco Buster on Billy Gunn in the corner, but Gunn hits his signature Famouser on X-Pac, pins him for the 3, and your winner of the match and the winner of the King of the Ring tournament of 1999 is Billy Gunn. Hats off to Billy Gunn for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is the main event of King of the Ring 1999. It is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shane and Vince McMahon. I thought this was a good match. Back and forth matchup between the McMahons and Stone Cold Steve Austin, with Austin keeping the pace of the match. Austin hits a Lou Thesz press on Shane. Austin then pulls down the ladder structure on the McMahons. Austin then hits an elbow drop off the ladder on Shane through the announce table. Austin then hits a stunner on both Shane and Vince McMahon. Austin then climbs the ladder, but the briefcase keeps rising. But Shane ultimately grabs the briefcase, and your winners of the match are the McMahons. A couple things I'm going to say about King of the Ring 1999, man, before I get out of here. Number one, this wasn't the best King of the Ring. It really wasn't. And towards the end of the whole King of the Ring thing, it started just wearing off, man. It wasn't like the best King of the Rings like we got in the beginning, like the original King of the Ring tournament with the likes of Bret Hart, Razor Ramon, Bam Bam Bigelow, Tatanka, Lex Luger. Those days were long gone. But the matches on here weren't that bad. I mean, X-Pac versus Hardcore Holly, it was a decent opening matchup for King of the Ring 1999. Kane versus Big Show was a good match. The Brood versus the Hardy Boys was also a decent matchup. Shamrock versus Billy Gunn, it was an okay match, but the reason why the match I don't think was that good because Ken Shamrock supposedly had injured ribs during that match, so we couldn't get a full-on match in that between Shamrock and Billy Gunn. So I think Gunn kind of carried the match because Ken Shamrock had injured ribs. Road Dogg versus X-Pac was a decent matchup. Road Dogg versus Chyna was decent as well. But honestly, I did not agree with Billy Gunn winning the King of the Ring tournament of 1999. I feel like it was one of those things where they had nobody else, and they were like, you know what, we're going to give Billy Gunn an opportunity to win the King of the Ring tournament in 1999. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. And to be honest with you, I never would have thought Billy Gunn would have been the winner of the King of the Ring tournament ever in my entire life. But he ended up winning it in 1999, so hats off to Billy Gunn for getting the win in that. And honestly, the main event was good. The McMahon, Shane, and Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold Steve Austin was a really good matchup, man. You're not ever going to not get a good moment between Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin, man. It's always hilarious. It's always funny. Watching Stone Cold Steve Austin hit Vince McMahon with a stunner, absolutely hilarious, man. So it's always great TV when you see Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, having a match or something, or like I said, Stone Cold Steve Austin hitting a stunner on Vince or whatever. But as far as giving King of the Ring 1999 a solid rating from 1 out of 10, man, I'm going to give it a solid 4 at best. Like I said earlier, man, this was a time where King of the Rings were really not that good. Now, credit 1998 was a whole different story, just based upon the Undertaker versus Mankind match, which will never happen again. It will never be duplicated again. That's a one and done. And a fantastic match, and honestly, a legendary match, But after that, I mean, the King of the Rings that was kind of it. I mean, that was the highlight of the King of the Ring tournament. In the early days of the King of the Ring, man, they were absolutely awesome. Having Bret win it, and that was a fantastic card from top to bottom in that first ever King of the Ring tournament. And then having his brother win it, Owen Hart, you had Mabel win it. And just the matches they put together for that. I mean, they had a lot of good, notable talent on those tournaments. Razor Ramon, Lex Luger. You're never going to get that again, man. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like, man, I feel like they didn't know what they had until it was gone. And King of the Ring, as of late, has been absolutely awesome. I mean, awful. Not awesome. Awful. But back in the day, man, it was absolutely fun to watch the King of the Ring tournament. And see all those guys compete to win the King of the Ring tournament and, you know, get the crown and all that stuff. It was pretty cool. But like I said, man, as of late, the King of the Ring tournament has been absolutely awful. But like I said, man, as far as giving King of the Ring 1999 a solid rating from 1 out of 10, I'll have to give it a solid 4 at best, maybe 4.5 at best. But this is my review of King of the Ring 1999. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.